Yo, 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 what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another exciting installment of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. It's your boy, Double B Bad Blood, the franchise player, joined here with usually the best co-host a man can ask for, Tony DeBurns. Tony, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, man, it's another exciting day here, man. You know how it is.
I sure do.
So, Tony, let's talk about this week in wrestling, man. Let's talk about on Twitter. You had something you wanted to talk about. Let's talk about that real quick before we get our guests in here.
Okay. So, those of you might be aware that there was a pretty major earthquake that it was around I don't know how far up and down Japan it was actually felt and how bad the damage was, but if you keep track of pro wrestling Twitter, then you might have noticed that there were some videos that were taken from inside a New Japan pro wrestling show when that earthquake took place. This was like a 7.2 scale earthquake.
Man, that's crazy.
You can actually see the fans and you literally see the action stop during the match. Everybody just freezes, and then you see the fans starting to react, and if it wasn't so just if you weren't so worried, it almost would have been comical. Like if you didn't have the possibility, that somebody might have died in that situation.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and the thing that so most of the videos don't actually show. You can see pictures of this though. You can see Kota Ibushi actually going around and trying to reassure fans there in the arena. Everything's going to be okay, and basically acting like the champion that he is.
That's classy right there, man. He went out there and he was making sure that each and every individual that were in it was a huge arena too.
Yeah,
and it was during one of their major shows. The show just the match stopped and he literally was like, "Hey, are you okay? Hey, are you okay?"
Yeah.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah, and the trippy thing is, so when you're watching the video, you can actually see the camera starting to shake, literally right as it's happening, and then it's just everybody just pauses, everybody freezes up. This was I believe this was main event too. So
I think it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't for his title. Was it the tournament final?
It was a 6-man. Yeah, so in fact, I actually believe this was one of Jay White's first matches back in New Japan as well. And this was actually supposed to be a pretty big angle with Jay White and Kota Ibushi. They still managed to pull the angle off, but after all of this just took place, it was surreal.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. And I'm from California. I've been through earthquakes. There was an earthquake happened in Japan, and I was there. So I get the fear of that situation happening.
Yeah, definitely.
My thing is this: for someone to be such a professional to get out of the ring and assure the fans that, hey, everything's okay, we're going to continue this show. Man, hats off to them. New Japan is doing the most right now.
They certainly are. Yeah, it was scary. Absolutely, it was scary, and I could only imagine how everybody was feeling when that was going on. Yeah, I'm reading, so I'm bringing up the article right now. So 6-man tag match: Ibushi, Tanahashi, and Okada versus 3 members of the Bullet Club, and yeah, literally right in the middle of it. The funny thing is, this is something I didn't catch the first time around. During the interruption caused by the earthquake, Jay White actually was kind of playing along, and he grabbed Ibushi's IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental titles, and then he went and he grabbed Tanahashi's never open weight title, and he just started screwing around ringside, posing with all the belts.
That's crazy, man. That is so crazy.
Yeah, it was Kenta, you had Gato and Takahashi. Uh, all made their way back out after everything had kind of calmed down after roughly 20 minutes, and then
Man.
yeah, no, it was ridiculous. Yeah, it was something I definitely wanted to make sure we brought up, just to once again illustrate that, you know, it's pro wrestling, but it's ingrained in our lives, to a very, very deep degree.
Yes, man. Yes, it's like I said, it was tremendous of them to take the time to make sure that all the fans were safe. Like not many. I mean, look, for instance, not many promotions around the country are doing that right now. There was a show in Idaho
Yeah,
that
we talked about this.
those guys, they ran their show and they didn't care about like the whole global bastard going on right now, the pandemic that's killing people. They had a whole crew of people in there, no mask on. Fans on Twitter were complaining about it, and the
Putting
promoter,
fans, putting the wrestlers at risk. I
yeah,
mean,
wrestlers putting the fans at risk. And the promoter, Gregory Huddle,
mhm,
Gregory Huddle is a scumbag piece of shit anyway, and
mhm.
he doesn't care about his fans or the people that were involved in the show. So he threw it off on another wrestler, like, "Hey, this wrestler is the one that was running the show. It wasn't me. I sold my part of the business to him because he was getting heat online."
Sold part of the business. How do you sell part of zero?
Well, it is what it is, my friend. But
Indeed,
with all that being said, some people aren't taking things seriously, and they really should be.
they really should.
But let's get on to something more positive.
Yeah.
Our guest tonight, man. Look, let's talk about this guy real quick. Let's hype him up real quick, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna talk about We're gonna talk about my boy Matt here. Matt goes by a lot of names: Snapmare Matt, Weapon X Matt. Like the dude has got so many gimmicks. It's outrageous, man. He was trained over there, Chicago Pro.
Yep.
They have a huge wrestling training center called the Wrestle Factory. And a lot of guys like Callaway, Mike Quackenbush, a friend of the channel, Ophidian, who is
Yep.
a good friend of Douglas Rockefeller from
That's right.
their days in England.
Mhm.
Trained at this place, man. And this guy is not only a former MMA fighter who was a Bellator fighter, and I believe it was Elite. I think it was Elite. I'm not really sure. I think it was Elite. But I've been watching him, with on IWTV every week. The guy has done stuff with GCW. The guy has done stuff with just multiple promotions out there.
Yep.
Ali stopped by to say hi. Hi, Ali. How are you? So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the man that's going to be our first guest tonight, Matt Masalaski. Matt, welcome to the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, my brother. How are you?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh man, it's another day here. We're glad to have you on. So, what's been going on with you? Like, give us a rundown on what you're all about and what you're doing here.
Well, like you were saying, I'm a former MMA fighter. I started wrestling training in like 2016 part-time, kind of went full-time in like 2018, and then officially debuted the May 2019. But yeah, the you mentioned the factory in Chikara, kind of the wheels of Chikara can turn slowly. So I was cooking in the oven for a while there,
Yep.
and then when the time was right, for numerous reasons, a whole lot of there was like 9 of us that kind of debuted like all at the same time. But yeah, kind of hit the ground running ever since. And yeah, just trying to stay busy during these
Trying times, huh?
Yeah, somewhat uncertain times and all that. I think things are kind of starting to normalize and whatnot, at least more so than they have been. But to the tune of what you guys were talking about earlier, still trying to stay safe. if I am doing a show, it's I get tested before, after. I'm wearing my mask basically at all times except for when I'm in the ring. And I understand there's a risk there. So I'm not, saying, hey, it's 100% safe, because I understand it's not. But
That's right.
I am taking all the any precaution I feel like I can take. I'm taking it. Unfortunately, one of my favorite parts about wrestling was like the handshakes and the and greeting and the respect. I really, that's one of the parts that was really attracted me to the culture in professional wrestling. And I feel really bad now, because most of the time now it's just a wave. I don't even really like to like, I'll try to say hello to everyone, but I really don't I don't really like mingle, or it's just, I don't want to knock on wood. I haven't gotten COVID, and I've been wrestling a decent bit, but, yeah, I don't know. I get my second shot in a couple of days, it's, so, just trying to do what I can while, with the situation that we're given here.
Exactly.
Oh man, I'll tell you, my hat's off to you, man. Getting the second shot. I tell you, a lot of people I know that have gotten the second shot said the second shot is where all the shit happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife's already had it, and she had her day. I understand. Yeah. I actually had a booking, a match the day after, and I got my shot rescheduled, so I didn't have to deal with that. Because I knew but it's it is what it is. So.
Well, at least you're taking precautions to make sure that you're safe and everyone in your household is safe. And that's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, I've been saying it from day one. My mom passed away from COVID 8 months ago. And I tell people, well, thank you. I tell people all the time, man, look, it's simple, man. Wear a fucking mask,
Yeah. I really, that's big. I teach mixed martial arts as well, and classes in Philly and Jersey have been kind of, restrictions have loosened or whatever. And so gyms are allowed to have classes now. And I've been coaching for a few months, and it's everybody wears masks. I wear a mask. There's only so much distancing you can do in that type of scenario. We try not to be irresponsible about it, but definitely everyone will be with like a partner or something. And again, I feel like it's been, again, just doing what we can with the situation, and not being irresponsible, overly reckless, we'll say.
Yeah. Exactly. And I tell people this all the time, man. I flash this on the screen every week. Look, it's simple. Stay safe. Stay home, man. Just love one another. Because at the end of the day, me going out and having a super spreader party and hanging out with my friends, and none of us are vaccinated, none of us are wearing a mask. Guess what? We're gonna go home. Our wives, our children, our husbands, our whatever are gonna get that shit because of us being reckless. And like we were discussing earlier, a wrestling show in Idaho, the promoter and his friends, they decided they're gonna have a show and basically no mask mandate.
Yeah.
Hey, come on in. It's a bar. We're gonna get drunk. Everyone wear a mask. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, outside wrestling and coaching, and then maybe like going to the grocery store, I'm not really going out at all, nor have I seen, friends. It's so, still dealing with all that,
I agree. Like, I just bought myself a 70-inch TV. And that 70-inch TV is for me to sit my ass at home and play Call of Duty. As a matter of fact, I have those same gamer headsets that you're wearing right now. Play my Call of Duty, and I don't go out unless I'm going to work or I'm traveling for wrestling. And when I'm traveling for wrestling, I'm masked up because I don't want to bring it home to anyone in my family or friends or anything like that, because at the end of the day, I'm responsible. So, just like you are, you're being responsible. Getting a second shot, tremendous, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough too, because you kind of, there's only, as like humans, there's only so much we can't we can't stay inside. I mean, you could, I guess. That might be worse for your health overall. Who knows? You know, no one can tell. Like, just like your mental health and all that. And
yes.
You know, I get outside with my kids at like the park, but we're keeping, you know, we're not, you know, again, we're not mingling or congregating with other folks. Yeah, you bring up video games. It's also, that is one way I've been able to kind of stay connected with some buddies. I'll play. I actually like, it was kind of like something I've been thinking about for a while, and I know it's kind of like almost a somewhat cliche thing, but I started a Twitch channel and like have just been kind of playing some games online, and I'll play with wrestling buddies, and we'll do whatever. But that's been a great way to like just do something social where we don't have to feel bad about, you know,
so isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started, me and Tony had Marty Casals, Marty the Moth from Lucha Underground.
Okay.
You know, he's a friend of the channel, and he actually helped us with starting a Twitch channel. Yeah, just so we can have the gaming. Like I play Among Us with him and a bunch of guys.
Nice.
All the time,
yeah, exactly.
You know? And my daughter just got me. She said, "Dad, you should try this one. You know, try this game." And then like I'm like I'm the fucking guy that kills people. She's like, "Why do you keep getting him?"
I know.
You know, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's fun. So you know, I get like, you know, I'll get 9 other wrestling friends and put a game together, and that's maybe something, you know, fans would want to watch or chat with everybody and stuff like that. So
Tony, you know, now you have another person you can round up to do the Roundtable podcast. Yeah, man. Oh man, that'd be awesome to have you on the show. I mean, Tony has been trying to get a bunch of guys. I mean, tell him, Tony,
like Among Us game or something.
Anything.
Oh, okay.
Anything.
Man, Tony is all about that. He's all about it. So let's talk about wrestling, man. Let's jump right into it. Now, Beyond Wrestling on IWTV. That seems to be like IWTV's flagship show.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience with IWTV and Beyond Wrestling.
I guess, how old is IWTV now? Would you say? Do you remember when it kind of debuted?
Tony,
2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah, you know what? I remember going to a Powerbomb.tv. That's what it started as. Right? You guys remember that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were actually on Powerbomb TV.
Okay. I went to a Powerbomb.tv taping at the Wrestle Factory and saw, it might have been Tom Lawler versus MJF, and like Alley Cat was on the show, a whole bunch of other people. So that was I can't even remember. I couldn't tell you. Had to have been 2017 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right.
So I guess what I'm getting at is like my wrestling career is very, very much runs parallel with kind of IWTV. Chikara had its own streaming service for a while, Chikaratopia, which then kind of, I guess, either disintegrated or whatever, and a lot of that is on IWTV now. But so for me, it just seemed like, okay, what are the companies on IWTV? That's where I want to wrestle. I mean, again, I'm coming from this, you know, mindset where I've been doing this since 2019, but we're trying to get the most eyeballs we can on our work. And you go to a live show and, you know, whatever the range is, it's a couple, you know, under 100 people to a couple hundred people, you know, there's not really a limit on IWTV. You know, I mean,
True.
Or just the internet in general and streaming and all that. So it's really helped with, you know, exposure and maybe just kind of trying to hit the ground running a little bit faster than, you know, the norm or pre streaming era wrestling or however you want to call that.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony has been Tony is our very Tony is our technical genius when it comes to the streaming services and things like that. He helps keep this show running.
Yeah.
And I'm totally embarrassing the shit out of you right now, but Tony's the guy that helps keep this boat floating, so to speak. And I remember when we were doing our weekly TV show in Portland for BCW Worldwide, and Tony brought up the fact that IWTV was, Powerbomb TV at the time was a really good streaming service that we should try to run on. So we just started running on it, and we were getting all types of eyes on our show, which is awesome, you know.
So, like we were saying, Beyond is maybe deemed the flagship show of that. So I'm coming up and I'm training. I'm watching IWTV, and I'm watching a lot of Beyond Wrestling, and it was just a goal of mine to maybe get there one day and aspire to wrestle there. And you know, things keep kind of snowballing. They start the Uncharted Territory series, which was like the weekly episodic kind of show for Beyond Wrestling on IWTV. And then they have this thing called the Discovery Gauntlet, which is basically a showcase for basically new talent or up and coming talent. And I just, whatever you want to say, the timing was there. I got lucky, however it is that people get booked these days. I ended up on the Discovery Gauntlet in Beyond Wrestling, and it's kind of gone from there.
Well, it looks like you've been doing a fucking lot of work, man. Like Beyond Wrestling, GCW, Pro Wrestling Zero. Like you've been doing a lot of work. I mean, a lot of high profile places too. Give us an example of something that you wanted to achieve that you finally achieved because of IWTV.
Well, definitely wrestling at Beyond. It's like a lot of people I looked up to or wrestled there, like Drew Gulak, Thatcher. Just, I mean, I don't know, almost anyone that's anybody has wrestled at Beyond at some point, it seems.
So it seems, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted this maybe isn't so much related to IWTV, but a big goal of mine was to wrestle at King of Trios, which is more so my why I started training at the Wrestle Factory. And Chikara had a big part in me even probably becoming a professional wrestler. I had discovered them in 2009. It was. They were at the ECW arena for King of Trios. I knew a friend of the photographer that worked there or something, and they were going, and I tagged along. It was like, I think it was night 2 of King of Trios. Anyway, you mentioned a name on already today that was there. That and Kota Ibushi.
Yes,
was on this show, and the Young Bucks were there. El Generico. It was like the most. But I'm not really knowing about independent wrestling at this point. I know like maybe Impact and obviously WWE and WCW and stuff. So this opens my eyes to this new world of wrestling. I was like, this is what wrestling can be. I just blew my mind.
You were like, comic books, wrestling. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, I'm into all that stuff too. There's the Colony and like all that stuff. So it's just I'm like, this, sign me up, But that was over a decade ago. It was always something I kicked around. I was still fighting at the time, but I was kind of on the tail end of that, and I don't know. I know there's a big gap in between there, but I finally decided to bite the bullet in 2016 and join try some training that they offered at the Wrestle Factory, and then it just kind of kept going from there. But yeah, I mean, IWTV has been huge. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of in everyone ends up in their own like social media, Twitter bubble. I feel like I am very much in a IWTV bubble. Everybody I follow is, on those shows.
I can see that.
A lot of the fans that follow me watch IWTV. So to me, it seems like IWTV is independent wrestling. And I know that's not the case, but it just, when I, go on my phone or whatever, it's, that's all I'm really seeing, other than maybe GCW, which is also fairly, local to me. They're kind of based out of New Jersey. I mean, they run all over the country, but GCW is definitely it's really still on my a goal of mine to wrestle there. I know I've wrestled Bloodsport, and I am extremely grateful and humbled to have been on those shows and hopefully continue to be on those shows. But I still want like eventually a main GCW match. So that's definitely still kind of a box I want to check as far as my career goes.
Well, speaking of GCW and Bloodsport, man, April 8th.
Yeah.
Bloodsport.
Let's do it.
Bloodsport 6. Man, tell us all about Bloodsport 6 and what's going on. Like, who are you facing?
I'm wrestling Hetty, and I don't want to botch his last name. He'll go by Hetty French, I believe. He's from France.
I'm glad you're the one doing it, because I didn't want
to. It might be Caraway, I believe, maybe, but Hetty Caraway, maybe.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
you're the one fighting him, not me.
But interesting matchup. He's world traveled. Wrestler.
Noki Dojo guy too.
Done a lot of work in Mexico. I'm still doing research on him, so I'm still finding things out about him. Every day, just to get a little bit of a scouting report on him.
I will tell you this: as a New Japan and Noki Dojo graduate, if he graduated from there, he's super tough.
Yeah.
So you gotta fight. You gotta fight on your hands.
Yeah,
so.
I don't doubt that,
man.
I don't doubt that at all. I think anybody on that show, maybe fits that description. But with
anyone on Bloodsport
with that credential, I think you're definitely right,
man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we go into more in depth about the Bloodsport 6 event happening at WrestleMania week, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more of my boy Matt here.
Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these
When you want to get your hair cut, you go get your hair cut right. You head down to Big D's Barbershop. Big D's Barbershop, Vancouver, Washington's best and brightest. 1019 Main Street, Vancouver, Washington, where you can go get your hair lined up, cuts, fades, shampoos, conditions, and all the great things that go with supporting a local barbershop in a local business area. You can also reach them online at www.bigdsbarbershop.com. Go get your haircut right.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
right, ladies and gentlemen, great futures do start. The Boys and Girls Club, and we are back live here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. Tony, you got any questions for Matt?
Yeah, so before we get into the discussion about blood sport, there was one subject I was curious about. Let's discuss briefly Camp Leapfrog.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
What was
do.
that
Please
experience like? Please tell us.
What do you mean? Camp Leapfrog is basically the I don't know. It's the brainchild of referee Chris Levin and Sam Laterna. It's a lot of the folks that were sort of, you could say, I don't know, left without a home when Chikara closed. We're sort of Camp Leapfrog people now. So, yeah, I've wrestled on, pretty much most of their shows since its inception. There's also, I don't know if you guys saw this, but did you guys see the ninja fight video? Some ninjas attacking. Okay.
That's what I thought Tony was going to talk about.
Perfect. All right. I didn't know if you guys saw it, and I was going to sound weird saying there's a Leapfrog's doing an event called Matt Makowski's Frog Sport in a couple weeks.
That's kind of what I was leading.
I told you guys I was into some, wacky stuff. But yeah, anyway, world famous CB and Ryan Nova got hypnotized and attacked me after class one day. And then I found a scroll that invited me to host some tournament or something called Frog Sport. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but if you haven't seen this video of me fighting a hypnotized Ryan Nova and Cheeseburger, you should maybe check that out on social media.
I've seen it.
It was some funny stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And see, wrestling is always such a serious business at times. Stuff like that just totally, man, makes it worthwhile.
I appreciate you saying that, man. We worked hard on that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth between like breaking kayfabe or whatever and all that. But I went to school for film and media arts, and so it was great. You could say that video is basically like my life's work in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
It's your Snyder cut.
It's like my school that I did, and then martial arts, wrestling. It's basically everything all rolled into one. If you want to know about me, just go watch that video.
Man,
yeah.
man.
Oh, trust
Tony,
me.
do you have the link to that video you can put up here?
I'll try to find it, but yeah, like I was saying, now we actually had one of the first times I had heard about Camp Leapfrog, and one of our previous guests on the program had mentioned that it was coming up, and I was curious, obviously, and so once we started seeing some results coming in, and it's like, okay,
just like matches that were happening and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, I'm curious about this, and then
yeah, we had a big what was it?
Oh no, it was.
The video, the ninja fighting video.
Yep.
We had a big match at the GCW 24-hour show.
Yes.
The Cybernetico. We had a Cybernetico, which so that was I believe it was 9-on-9. For those that aren't familiar, a Cybernetico is like basically a lucha stipulation match where it's 2 teams of 9, but only one person can win. So if you get eliminated, like if you're pinned or submitted, you're eliminated. But if one team eliminates the other team, well, the remaining people on the on the team have to fight each other, have to wrestle each other until there's only one winner. So even though you're all on 2 teams to start, it ends up kind of boiling down where you have to wrestle everybody
for themselves. Yeah.
So that was, I believe, Erica Lee over Boomer Hatfield. They were on the same team, having eliminated myself and Travis Huckabee as the last 2 on the, I guess you could say the Rudo team if you want. But yeah, and I thought that in a show of 24 hours of wrestling, I really felt like that stood out with just we'll say the characters even, and then just the match itself, very unique for, there wasn't anything like it in 24 hours of wrestling, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for Cybernetico.
Time too.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Man, Tony, like I said, Tony loves that kind of stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, so it started. No, I guess the first Camp Leapfrog was just kind of like introducing the concept. It was like it's supposed to be like, what would it be like if wrestlers were at a summer camp or something?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's lots of like basically skits that lead up to maybe these matches happening or whatever. Like I think my first one was we were playing a 3-on-3 like pickup basketball game, and somebody, I think Travis Huckabee, like hard fouled Vita Von Star, and then like we started going at it. We're like, all right, we gotta have a match. So then we had a trios match.
The wonderful name of Oreo Speedwagon, by the way.
Yeah. And then there was like other stuff like Devon, like it was just wacky stuff leading to these matches. The next show was like a Halloween theme where everyone was kind of dressed up in costumes. It was like a Halloween party.
Things that go bump in the ring. Another wonderful name, by the way.
Then I think we did Christmas trios. We did a trios tournament. 8 teams of 3 had a 1-day or 1-event tournament. I made it to the finals in that with again Travis and Devontes. We did end up losing to Still Life with Apricots and Pears at the time, and I believe Molly McCoy and Boomer Hatfield. And then they do event. There's events. They've been running events free on the Independent Wrestling Facebook. So even if you don't have an IWTV subscription, they've been run live on Facebook, and I think the replays are available there for free. And then there'll be like other shows that are only on IWTV with like a subscription. But it's been a nice it's a nice change of pace. It's similar to the Chikara vibe.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things that I noticed about it as well. Kind of this weird amalgamation between Chikara and similar wrestling promotions, like say a Hood Slam out on the West Coast. Just for example.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely been enjoyable. It's been fun. I've been and I'm really looking forward to Frog Sport, as it were.
Frog Sport, ladies and gentlemen. So, tell me about this round robin challenge thing that's going on at Beyond Wrestling.
Yeah, so that's a good one to talk about too. I had some. I got involved with. I got contacted. We're doing this round robin tournament. It's going to be you, Yuta, Tony Deppen, and Chris Dickinson. And I have a history with Deppen and Chris in the ring, at least. With Yuta, it was more like similar training lineage, and he's a guy that I've been around and trained with before. I realize that doesn't maybe necessarily make him my greatest rival or whatever. I've been taking a lot of flack from my buddies about this, but I ended up I've wrestled him twice now. I wrestled him, at Beyond, and then we wrestled at Hybrid Wrestling a week later
H2O, isn't that out in New Jersey?
Yeah, it's like a it's kind of a
isn't it?
no, that's a little different. Hybrid is basically was a doubleheader with GCW. So I kind of thought it felt like a kind of like an NXT of GCW, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Yes, it
okay.
does.
It does make sense. It makes a whole lot of sense, actually.
But yeah, so got to tie up some loose ends with Tony Deppen. I did get the win against Yuta in the, I believe it was the second episode. I wrestled Tony Deppen in the third episode. Deppen had messed with my Discovery Gauntlet run on the second season of Uncharted Territory. He actually knocked me out of a match that I was supposed to have with Daniel Garcia.
I remember that.
And he ended up taking my spot, and then I ended up getting him back on Halloween. I entered as like a masked wrestler and unmasked, and then beat his ass really quick. He then messed with me in a match I was having with Gary J. He kind of rang the bell early, caused some issues. Gary ended up hitting me with a big rolling elbow, put me out. So he just we never really got to close that little
some of your differences.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of came just to a close, and that was a bit ago. Tony's a bit of a different guy now. He's had a kid. He's not as he doesn't maybe doesn't pull that stuff as much as he used to, but either way. And then the stuff with Dickinson is kind of interesting too, because again, I was supposed to wrestle Daniel Garcia at a they called it La Shangri-La.
Yeah.
You guys remember that? Yeah, that Beyond show that was at like on a lake.
Mhm.
It was very nice, but
Beyond Wrestling is, I mean, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't found them online, you need to look up Uncharted Territory on IWTV. It's some really interesting type of wrestling and some really good shit.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, it was La Shangri-La. La Shangri-La. It was like La Magistral. It was a play on words with La Magistral, the lucha pin. But something happened with Daniel. He couldn't make it, and oh great, Chris Dickinson is taking his place. And I like had a small shit in my pants, but so I kind of got thrown into this situation, and I feel like that match got a lot of whatever you want to call it, a lot of good like adulation. It was deemed one of Beyond's best matches from that year. Yeah, they didn't have a whole lot of shows, but either way, it was still something I was really proud of.
Still would be considered one of the best matches. So
yeah,
go with it, man.
Yeah. And it was with Chris, like a guy that just he's like one of the most intimidating dudes in wrestling. So
yeah. Dickinson's a big fucking dude.
Yeah,
I wish he would stop sticking his tongue out so much.
But so now as it stands, he's 2-0 and I'm 2-0, and I believe we will be meeting not tomorrow, but next Thursday. The finale airs. Yuta and Deppen are wrestling tomorrow on the broadcast tomorrow, and then a rematch between me and Chris the week after.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I mean, again, definitely learned from the first one, and we'll see what happens. It's been almost, it was September of last year. I've had a lot of a decent amount of matches since then. With these, that's the thing about these the pandemic era with this wrestling. I'm getting like sometimes 3, 4, maybe 5 matches in a weekend because they're doing these tapings, and they're basically filming a whole season's worth of content. And I'm getting a lot of, maybe more experience than I would be, had we been, that's one positive, I guess we'll say. There's pros and cons. Cause let me tell you, sometimes I'm feeling it. Monday morning, I wake up and I'm like, damn, I just got hit by a truck. But
it's funny, ladies and gentlemen, you don't understand the what we're talking about here. It's professional wrestling is a very physically dominating sport, and like it's so physical on your body.
I don't want to. I mean, look, I never was one of those guys. I think as an MMA guy or whatever, people can have a tendency to like whatever badmouth pro wrestling or whatever it may be. But I was never of that mindset. And honestly, a lot of my peers that I'm close to within the MMA community have only been supportive of me doing this. I really, there hasn't been anybody that's been like, oh, you're doing that fake shit or whatever. I really haven't heard any of that. And man, if I ever did, I would probably slap him across the face because like I just said, it's physically, it's just as it's hard to compare, but it's like it's extreme. It's extremely physically demanding. I mean, it does maybe depend on your style and a lot of other things. But I'm not. The way I was in MMA is very similar to the way I am in wrestling. So it's very physical, and when you're in there with guys like Deppen, Yuta, and Dickinson, it's gonna be physical. So, that's a whole nother can of worms and issues itself. Like just trying to maintain my body and continue to stay in top condition while staying injury free and being able to do wrestle 4 or 5 matches in a weekend has been a bit of a challenge.
That's a lot of matches in a weekend too, man. I mean, as someone who's done that, like,
well, you said 15 in like 3-4 days. Like, I'm like, man, more power to you. But I just like, I was
so tired, man.
I would probably explode.
I was so tired. I'll tell you, man, look, like, here's the thing about that too. It was all fun and games. It was all fun and games until I went home.
You went home.
It was all fun and games until I went home. Like, I asked Tony, I walked into BCW Worldwide and I'm like, shit, I gotta wrestle a 6-man tag team. No, it was the night we had a War Games cage match, and I'm like, great. My body.
I'm literally looking as you're coming in. I'm like,
oh, I see. So you're
what happened to you?
And I'm the guy that travels like every week. So I literally will have like a show on a Friday, a show on a Saturday, and then fly home from my show on Sunday, and come right from the airport. Not even go home. Right from the airport to the venue, because I run the show. So I come from the airport to the venue and I walk in, and every time I walk in, I can see the look on Tony's face like, this motherfucker needs to get some sleep. I can't sleep on the plane. So yeah, trust me. And and those matches are like mostly like tag team matches, or I'm doing a title match or whatnot, but they're not as physically demanding as the matches that you're talking about. They're not like blood sport where I'm going in there and I'm going like 200 miles per hour trying to kill my opponent. I mean, let's call it what it is. You've done previous blood sports, right?
This will be my third, which again I'm pretty proud of. And so I mean, I feel most at home, doing this style. Obviously, I feel like it's. I'm actually less nervous for these types of matches, just because I feel like I'm at home. I'm fairly comfortable with what I can expect and what I'm gonna do. So in that way, it's nice. I mean, not to change the subject, but the UWFI, the Paradigm UWFI thing started tonight. I was just on that. I didn't wrestle tonight, but I came out and got introduced as part of Team Filthy with Tom Lawler and Dom Guarini.
I was going to ask you about that.
So I'll have some matches on that, and it's the same thing. It's similar to Bloodsport. You know, I was felt like I'm in my kind of my element and ready to go. So I'm going to be wrestling, I believe, Hoodfoot for the belt. He just beat Akira tonight. It was so it was announced a couple months ago they were going to do it where I got the winner of that match tonight. So that's going down in I think 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's about to say it's going in 2 weeks. So it's going to be.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, another friend of the show, Phoenix Kid, is going to be debuting for them pretty soon as well. So I will have to let him know to say hello.
Excellent.
Yeah, you'll like Phoenix Kid. He's an interesting individual.
He is,
very interesting
to say the least.
To say the least, you know. But yeah, man, okay. I wasn't going to bring it up, but now I have to bring it up. Pizza Party Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Please tell us about Pizza Party Wrestling, man.
Pizza Party's great. Dan is doing some awesome stuff. I mean, I think he kind of comes from like or he's influenced by like the backyard scene. And I don't know. I don't think he would mind me saying this kind of stuff, but he was thinking of, different ways that wrestling could be presented. Because wrestling is very much presented as like almost like a sports cast kind of thing. And
sure.
And I guess maybe similar to like Camp Leapfrog, it become, or even like Chikara, it's more of like some type of, there's more like a story or something that's more driving the action in a way. Sure. I think Pizza Party's trying to take that and go pretty far with it. We'll see that what their next couple events look like. But yeah, I had they've had a few shows I've wrestled. I got to tag with my good friend Matt DeMorist on a show of theirs like 2 years ago, I think, or so, like a year ago. And then I wrestled Kennedy Copeland a couple months ago.
That's right.
Pizza Party,
back in November.
Yeah, and that was I felt like that went really well too. So, yeah, interesting name for a company, but they're I think they're trying to just do some different stuff. It's kind of a lighthearted, more lighthearted atmosphere, and it kind of gives off that vibe. I don't necessarily give off that vibe when I wrestle, but I feel like that's sometimes the fun part is the juxtaposition of this guy in this environment.
Yeah.
Whatever.
To be fair, neither does Chris Dickinson, but we see him appear.
Yeah. His match with Faye Jackson at Pizza Party is amazing. I was there. I was there live. Oh no, yeah, I wrestled. It kind of came up spur of the moment, but I wrestled Boomer Hatfield.
That's right. Yep.
On that same show where Chris wrestled Faye, that match was insane. They've done some great things.
Great, I, as a matter of fact, she was one of the people that was involved in the tag team scrimmage match that we had in Florida during that WrestleMania week during the 15 shows.
Oh, okay.
She was part. As a matter of fact, it was a Full Throttle Pro.
Yeah.
Nice.
And funny thing about it is, me and my tag team partner, we were talking the other day. The guy that I teamed with at that show, and we didn't realize we wrestled John Silver.
Oh wow!
I remember.
Yeah, I went over on John Silver. Like, this guy's like this fucking superstar on the Dark Order right now.
Yeah.
Imagine that, crazy. But one more company I want to talk about before we go to our game, and that company, Dropkick Depression.
Yes.
Tara Callaway is a friend of the channel. I've known Tara Callaway for a very long time.
Awesome.
And her building this company and putting this thing together was tremendous. What was it like being part of that show, being part of that whole scenario? That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was one of my first, like that was real early days for me, like as far as, you know, my career up to this point. It was like a scramble, 6-way scramble.
Yes. It was.
Eric Corvus, Matt McIntosh, Solo Darling, the Whisper. It might have been 5. It might have just been 5 of us. No, and Anthony Gagnon, I believe. Yeah. So that it was also my first time where I did essentially a double shot. We had a Chikara show earlier in the day that I was on and wrestled there, and then drove up to the Dropkick show and wrestled again. So that was a neat experience. But yeah.
Gotta love them.
But yeah, I hope Tara can do those again. I'm actually wrestling this Sunday. I feel bad. I'm not sure if it's on IWTV or not, but it's the Tara Callaway like charity show. She's had an injury recently.
What?
And we're helping to raise money for some of her medical bills.
Yeah,
So,
another friend of the show, another friend of BCW Worldwide, Stan Styles has been kind of keeping me on that one.
Because I have been wrestling at Sean Henderson shows a lot, which is like an offshoot of H2O. That's so I've been on a couple Sean Henderson shows to this point. And one of them is this Sunday. It was kind of thrown together within the last few weeks again to help Tara with some of her medical bills.
Yep.
Well, that's a good thing you guys are doing, man. I'm proud to be a part of a family that takes care of each other. And you know, welcome to the family. Now, before we let you go, there's a game that we usually play with a lot of the guests that come on here. The fans that watch the show, they love this game. The game is real simple, real fun. It's called Team With, Feud With, or Fire. Now, basically the way the angle works is this. You can team with anyone in the industry, no matter who it is, alive or dead. You can feud with anyone, alive or dead. And you can fire anybody. And I do mean anybody. You can fire Vince McMahon. You can fire the dude who rang the bell too early in your match. You can fire the guy who sold popcorn, you know, in your first match, you know, the arena where your first match was. You can fire the fan in the front row. It doesn't matter who it is. You can fire them for any reason you want. You don't have to tell us what it is unless you want to. So, Team With, Feud With, Fire.
Oh, man. Team With. I'm going to go. I don't know. I feel like top of my head, it's kind of crazy, but like my childhood wrestling idol, Bret the Hitman Hart.
I like it.
If you know,
just don't get his bad side.
Yeah. Feud with. There's so many guys. I don't know. Guys that maybe match up with me well now, or like, you know, Kyle O'Reilly and, you know, Bobby Fish, you know, Thatcher, you know, and I guess if we're going way back, like fantasy booking stuff, it'd be like Ken Shamrock, Kurt Angle, maybe, you know, that would be insane. But
maybe like a Dan Severn.
Dan, yeah, he's a tall drink of water, but yeah,
he really is.
Just because he's a big dude, he's so big. I was trying. I didn't want to say Brock Lesnar. He would just probably squish anybody, you know. But yeah, Dan's a big guy. Fire. I don't know. I feel like I'm just gonna pick on a friend of mine. She's a referee.
That's what we do.
Every week.
A referee. Her name's Gina. and she keeps counting my. She's refed a lot of my matches, and she keeps like doing counts every time I'm trying to do submissions. You know, because in jiu-jitsu you're on your back a bit. Sorry, my camera's going out of focus here. But like anytime my shoulder blades come anywhere near the mat, she starts slapping the mat. Like I'm doing a, you guys know the like a Mexican surfboard.
Sure do. Love it.
Okay, yeah. Have you ever seen a ref count somebody that's doing the Mexican surfboard?
Okay, now I'm not gonna defend her.
Go
ahead. I will tell you.
Go ahead.
I wrestled in AAA.
Okay, and they count it?
Fucking referee counted me. And I was like, my shoulders are off the mat, and he fucking counted me.
Show up in Bremerton, Washington. I applied that same hold. I had for once the referee wasn't sign guy.
Oh my god.
The sign guy. But
no,
everywhere. I got counted. Counted my shoulders.
It happens, man.
And so I can only hold my opponent up there for like a second because I was getting counted and I needed to rock forward and then basically lose the hold. But I would fire Gina for one show or one match and then maybe hire her back. I don't know.
Look at that. He fired her for one match. Not such a bad guy. One match is not bad. Yeah. Me personally, I fire people for a fucking month. That's 4 shows you're not going to be on, kid.
He's not joking either.
I'm not. Well, man, Matt, thank you for joining us here, man, on the Roundtable podcast. And like I tell all the guests that come on here that are cool as fuck, man, there's always a seat here at the table for you when you want to come through.
Hey, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find him, and do not stalk him on Twitter, but you can find him on Twitter at that's right. And if you want to look him up on Instagram, you can find him on Instagram the same way. Ladies, don't be trying to slide in his DMs. He is married.
Seriously.
But anyway, man, hey, thank you very much for joining us on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, man. And tell you people, I'll connect it to your Twitter, and people can like, click, and subscribe. They can listen to this on Spotify, on Google, on Apple, on Pandora, and now they can listen to us on Amazon Music.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, Matt.
Thank you.
And we will be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, and we'll bring on Wrestling Personified, Rick Luxury.
Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these rules...
When you want to get your hair cut, you go get your hair cut right. You head down to Big D's Barbershop. Big D's Barbershop, Vancouver, Washington's best and brightest. 1019 Main Street, Vancouver, Washington, where you can go get your hair lined up, cuts, fades, shampoos, conditions, and all the great things that go with supporting a local barbershop in a local business area. You can also reach them online at www.bigdsbarbershop.com. Go get your haircut right.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Great futures do start with the Boys and Girls Club, and we are right back here in the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. And
if you thought you were going to take a breath, we're getting right back into it.
And Maya Brown said it savage. I mean, true statement. That was hella savage. But Tony, let's tell these beautiful fans that follow us week after week where they can watch us on television.
Well, you can always go over to our Xfinity or Prism TV on CenturyLink stations every Monday night, 10 p.m., channel 11 on both formats. If you miss that, you can always tune in on Tuesday night, 10 p.m., channel 22 Xfinity or channel 8002 on Prism, CenturyLink TV. And if you missed that one, you got one more shot to watch the show Wednesday night, 9 p.m., channel 23 Xfinity or channel 8003 CenturyLink Prism.
You can also watch us right there on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast on Twitch and on YouTube. You can listen to us on Anchor FM / the Roundtable Podcast. Like, click, and subscribe. And if you want to help the show out, ladies and gentlemen, you can go and check us out on Twitter, twitter.com / the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. You can also go support the channel, support this product right here, this podcast, at anchor.fm / the Roundtable Podcast. We totally would love the fact that you guys are always there looking out for us, keeping us going. And Tony. Man, it has been a crazy week in professional wrestling.
It sure has.
You know, from the earthquake to finding out Charlotte Flair has COVID to Andrade being released by the WWE. Just craziness going around.
You betcha.
But today, a friend of mine, I was going to post this on, but I didn't get a chance to put the link in, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it now.
Sure. A
WWE superstar contacted me today, and his grandfather passed away. It wasn't all of a sudden, but his grandfather passed away, and he wanted everyone to kind of like help with the funeral costs and things like that. Lindsay Dorado of the Lucha House Party, grandfather passed away today, and they did a GoFundMe. So if you follow me on Twitter, that's at the Bad Blood Brand. That's BADDBLOOD brand. You can find the link to go donate and help this cause. Trust me, I know my mom passed away. A lot of people rallied around me and helped me. It was a surprise thing, things happen. And I wasn't prepared, and neither was he. So guys, go help out Lindsay Dorado. You can find him on Twitter. And support the cause, because you never know when it could be you or one of your loved ones.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, Tony, should we bring on our next guest?
Oh, you better believe it. Hell yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he is a Bay Area wrestling legend. He is a man that has been around a long time and has put over a lot of big name people, has helped train a lot of guys. Some guys you can see on AEW. Ladies and gentlemen, he is wrestling personified, Rick Luxury. Rick, welcome to the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Bad Blood, the pleasure is all yours. Bear with me. I'm in the car. My wife had an emergency surgery. We went and picked her up from the hospital. That's why I didn't get in here as early as I should have. But where there's a will, there's a way, and it's the wrestling business. The show must go on. So one way or another, wrestling personified, a little dark in the background, but I'm here, and I'm glad to be on the podcast, guys.
Well, thank you for being on.
Yeah, under the circumstances, man, thank you for being on. I hope the wife is okay. Let her know that, the podcast
wife P.T. Keen, we're moving forward with things. Everything's good. No scares or anything. Just something that had to be done. And now it's time to grab some minestrone soup from a famous place out here in my hometown, head back to the house and get the grub on. But while I'm waiting, I got my oldest daughter driving, so I'm able to sit back in the back seat like a limo and roll deep while we sit here and talk on the podcast.
Roll deep through the Bay Area. I hear that. So let's talk about you, man. What's going on with you down in the Bay Area?
Man, California's still locked down with COVID. We haven't been able to open up for live shows yet. I've been trying to stay real busy with everything going on. I've been taking all my guys and we've been filming. We call them sanitized. They're just 40 minute to an hour long shows that we put out on YouTube for donations to help keep the doors open, help keep the guys that are loyal to us working and out there on a basis, still getting in the ring and doing their thing. Picked up with the AIWF. We just did the first ever California taping out here with the AIWF with a lot of guys from Kansas, West Virginia. Shout out to Rocky if he's paying attention, man. That guy really came out here from West Virginia with a crew, did his thing. Wow. Billy came out here from Kansas. They did their thing. Just trying to stay busy with the training and running the shows and that, waiting until we open the doors back up. Really eager at the bit. Got a lot of great things planned, but a lot of great talent coming up. And I'm chomping at the bit to get fans back in the building.
Man, that's incredible, man. I mean, with the way the pandemic has shut down the entire country, our sport has suffered. But guys like you are keeping it going with the no fans in the arena tapings, and
hey, yeah. This is all I know how to do, and literally, I've said it a million times. I said if the government went and outlawed professional wrestling completely, to the point that you get 10 years for anything you did, well, I'm doing underground wrestling shows, because where there's a will, there's a way. You make it happen. And there's always going to be an audience for it. There's always going to be a fan base for it. People are going to be hungry for pro wrestling. It's the greatest form of entertainment. I mean, movie theaters are closed. You know, Disney wants to charge $30 to go watch a movie that you could literally, wait 4 months for free. So we gotta film. We gotta get these guys in there. The thing is, the wrestling business dies if we don't keep it going. So gotta keep things going positive for these young kids. Keep teaching them the way from yesteryear, as well as, like I say, man, I've been wrestling for 22 years. And if you don't learn how to evolve with the business, you get left behind. So they got to teach them the ways of the past, as well as evolve to the future with them.
Truth. Absolute truth.
That is so much truth, man. So look, let's shoot real quick, because I know.
Not a problem. I love that.
Me and you, we know we've known each other for a long time. We can fucking straight shoot here.
Way back like wave caps, bro.
We're about to call this a shooting hour, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here it is. NorCal wrestling has been a fixture in professional wrestling in the Pacific Northwest and in the California area for, goddamn, I've been wrestling 28 years, so at least about 30.
Yeah.
You got the Cow Palace in San Francisco.
You
got Roy Shires with the Cow Palace in San Francisco. You had Woody Farmer with big time wrestling in the Bay Area. You got Kirk White that picked up the ball from that. Roland Alexander with Pacific Sports. Those guys kept it going from the 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way into the 2000s. Now you got guys like Marcus Mack, Gabe Ramirez, Maynard Skinner, those guys, Zach Reeb, those guys keeping it together and keeping it moving.
Friends of the channel.
California right now.
So you mentioned East Bay Pro Wrestling. You mentioned Maynard. Tell us about East Bay Pro Wrestling, man. Tell us about what's going on down there.
So East Bay Pro Wrestling right now is the home of Rick Luxury. It's been around for 6 years, but it's being now known as the house that Rick is rebuilding. When I came in there, they were running shows quite often, and they were also doing training at their school. They had 9 students. I came into the fold. I turned things around. Right now, currently, we have 38 students. Since I've been there in the 2.5 years since I've been there, we brought in 50 students total under my umbrella, kept the original 9, kept things rolling. Like I said, we used to do 2 to 3 shows a month. It then, when I came in, it built to 5 shows a month. Now with COVID, it's kind of not like that with everything being shut down, but we're still keeping things rolling with the sanitized tapings. We're going into season 2. Right now we're filming for that. And I'm really eager to bring back some student showcase shows for my kids that are new in the business. And as soon as we get this lockdown lifted, man, we're going back to every Saturday. We'll be running out of that building.
Man, and I'm looking forward to that, because PCW Worldwide, East Bay Pro Wrestling, you got the best in the East, you got the best in the West, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. You know, you got California, you got Oregon, you know, we got a company up in Washington. See, here's the thing about wrestling in general. There are Oregon promotions that can't work together because of egos.
Yeah, and that's the horrible thing about this business.
Now, I know there are I know there are California promotions that don't work together because of egos. I'll save that for a second. I'll save that one for a second. So we, as in BCW Worldwide, we are looking forward to teaming with you guys.
Oh, I got a pissed off kid right now.
Oh man, she's a heel right now. She's turning heel on you.
He's the heel. Shane Douglas. He's the heel right now.
Oh man, dropping the NWA belt, getting all the heat right now.
Yes, sir.
So we are looking forward to joining up with you guys and working with you as a
Definitely. I
cohesive
got
unit.
guys that never worked in Oregon. They're hungry and waiting to get up there. It's only a 10-hour drive, man. We love packing in the van and heading up that way.
Doing the
Northwest
drives.
is beautiful.
Doing the drives. Now look, we're gonna shoot a little bit because I love spilling the tea. We're about to hit some Boston Tea Party shit over here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
Okay, Rick Luxury. We play this game, and it's real simple. I usually don't do it twice on the show, but this is
I
special.
just kind of caught notice of this. This is tag with,
Team with, feud with, or fire.
feud with, and fire, right?
Okay, so let's do things a different way. Let's start with the fire. Who would you fire from professional wrestling if you had the opportunity right now? Who would you fire? Who do you want out of the business?
All right, I'm just gonna get this in a nutshell. We're just gonna wrap this up in a ball. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lay the paper out. We're gonna throw all of them on top of it. We're gonna wrap it up with a nice little bow. Then we're gonna throw that shit into a dumpster fire. Because I'm sick and tired. If you're a keyboard warrior, plain and simple, any keyboard warrior in this business, you're fired. That's it. You're fired. And people know their names. We got two big matching keyboard warriors here in the Bay Area, like to type a lot with their fingers. They think they're Twitter fingers or trigger fingers, but they're not.
My God.
But yeah, basically all the keyboard warriors out there, all the guys that the typewriter tough guys that basically get online and badmouth the youth of the pro wrestling, or get on somebody because they're doing a positive in pro wrestling, or someone that just doesn't have what it takes to cut it, and they just feel like they need to get online and voice their opinion about something they don't need to be talking about. Let's just ball them up. I'd fire the keyboard warriors. And the thing is, people who are listening to this podcast right now, you know who you are. You know if you're a keyboard warrior. And if I had the contracts in hand, each and every one of those typewriter typing keyboard warriors would be fired. Hell, shit. Set them on a boat, put them out to ocean, then hit that shit with the cannons and sink it, because guess what? Keyboard warriors in any aspect of life, you're scum, you're worthless, go ahead, type my name in all you want today, because it won't hurt my feelings. I'm still going to do what I do, and I'm still going to laugh at you while I do it. So every single keyboard warrior out there would be fired. And I don't have to name names, because the beautiful thing about the keyboard warriors, they know who they are, and they're ashamed of it themselves.
Man, welcome to Boston, ladies and gentlemen. The tea has been spilled. It has been spilled.
That's the truth. Hell, in life, every keyboard warrior in life, kids that go to high school, kids that work at Starbucks, adults that work at a car franchise, whatever it is, if you got a keyboard warrior, you know what I'm talking about. Those are the people that just need to stop breathing.
Wow.
We should charge them $1 per breath and see which one chokes to death.
Ladies and gentlemen, look, we need to take a quick break real quick. We're going to hear from James Beard. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is James Beard with SWE Fury, and you're watching the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Man, Rick Luxury laying it down, wrestling personified. You're one of the best promos in the business, brother. I'm just going to put it out there like that.
Oh, no doubt.
Man, thank you very much for that. We really needed to hear that tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Man. So look. Before we let you go, because we know you got things to do.
I'm busy. I'd love to come back on another time when I don't have my wife and all 3 of my kids in the car throwing
we will
fits.
definitely get you back on here.
Totally will get you
need
back
a
on the show.
Longer appearance, let me tell you.
All right, now we're talking about teaming because I know that was part of it.
Yes.
I know someone's gonna hit the shade button on this one. I know the screens are gonna be black. You're probably gonna have to beat this out, but Chris Benoit is my tag team partner.
Oh shit. Okay. So
I don't
Chris
know the
Benoit.
man personally. I don't know personal life. And that's the thing is I ain't trying to know personal life. But what I can tell you is I know what the man did in the wrestling business, and it's hard to top. So if you want to be the best, you got to be with the best. And bottom line is one of the best.
Okay, now who would you feud with?
Oh, if I had a feud with somebody, I want to feud day in and day out. No joke. My favorite person to actually get in the ring with and get busy with would be none other than rock legend scum Adam Thornstowe. I'd feud with that guy and wrestle him every single day of my career.
I
Friend
like
of the channel.
it.
Friend of the channel. We'll actually have Reno Scum on the show coming.
Awesome.
very
I've
soon.
gone 59.59 seconds with Adam Thornstowe in an Iron Man, and I've gone 59 seconds with him in the opening contest of a dark match. So that guy, I could wrestle. Well, I can wrestle that guy blindfolded, man. Anytime, anywhere. I love working Adam Thornstowe. He's the guy I'd feud with. Now, if we're gonna pull names from the big companies, if I had a choice to feud with someone up there,
Okay.
I'd like to beat the hell out of Jamie Noble day in and day out because
Jamie Noble. Okay.
Jamie Noble's a tremendous talent. That guy, he never got the credit he deserved. He's not 6'6". He's not 270 pounds of steroid power, but he's a great worker, man. And I give credit to the guys that know how to work and have passion and love for the business. I'm glad to know he still has a job as a suit and tie, but the greatest thing you could ever do is back in the day when you were going to see a live event, all of a sudden see that William Regal's taking on, Jamie Noble at the house show, because that was the treat. You were getting a match that night.
Oh yeah.
For sure,
That's
man.
the good
For
stuff,
sure.
let me tell you.
I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. Jamie Noble was the guy you had to work. If you were a wrestler, you wanted to work a dark match, Jamie Noble was the guy you had to impress. They would literally bring you into the show hours before the doors open, and Jamie Noble would be like, get your ass in the ring, and you had to work Jamie Noble. And if he liked you, then you got to be an extra. So
that's the way it should be, brother. But yeah, guys, I would love to come back on this show and have a little bit of time to sit down, maybe sip some of the tea that was spilled tonight.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We're going to get in depth on that tea spilling too the next time you're on the show.
And I am looking very forward to it. Let me tell
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, that has been your boy, Rick Luxury. Rick, thank you for joining us here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
No problem, BJ. Look forward to seeing you again, brother.
See you soon, my friend.
All right, late.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that was Rick Luxury here live here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. And man, the tea was spilled.
Man. Keyboard warriors, man. Let me tell you.
I love
we know a few of those ourselves.
Yeah, and I know who he was talking about. That's what makes it even funny. That's what makes it funnier.
See, I feel like I'm in the dark now, so I'm gonna have to ask you off the air.
Oh yeah. Trust me, you'll know. I mean, some people are gonna get slammed in the hood with that, man. I'm telling you, it's it's pretty crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the channel, you want to support your boy the franchise, you can go ahead and get that 503 original gear, www.503originals.com. You can like, click, and subscribe on their website. You can find us all over the place, man. Spotify, Google. You can find us on Apple Music. You can find us on Pandora. You can find us on iHeartRadio. And you can now find us on Amazon Music. Man, look, for those who like MMA, okay, I was going to leave this as a surprise. For those who like MMA, there's a gentleman that's going to be on the podcast tomorrow. Well, it's going to be a special interview. Not a podcast, but a special interview.
Okay.
And when I do these special interviews, you can go onto the BCW Worldwide channel. You can watch there, or you can actually go to the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast on Facebook. Or you can go like, click, and subscribe on all. See those beautiful podcast notes at the bottom of the screen right there? You can find us on all of those podcasting stations, and you can find us on Twitter at Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. All these cool places. But if you're a fan of MMA, I know a lot of you guys are. We do have a combat sports combat sports specialist. His name is Adam Woods. He has his own YouTube channel, According to Woods. He will be with me tomorrow as we interview MMA star Drakkar Klaus. No, this is a UFC guy. This is a guy who's like doesn't grant interviews all that much.
Yeah, so I've heard.
So we have an exclusive. Is going to be on the podcast tomorrow, so you can tune in. You can find out when it's going to be. You can find out what we're going to talk about. Also, like I said, we got a lot of cool people coming up, man. Next week we have Adin Reyes.
Yes, we do.
Adin Reyes, who calls himself what the hell does he call himself now? The wrestling diva.
Nope, princess.
Princess, that's right. Yeah, the princess, Adin Reyes. I don't know why, but he calls himself the princess, Adin Reyes. And, it's, man, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be freaking awesome to have him on the show because he's going to basically, I don't know if he knows this or not, but he was thrown under the bus.
Yeah, he was.
For the independent wrestling show that happened last week?
It's been a few weeks.
It's been a few weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can also, if you want to look up TWM.news on Twitter, the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast is now officially part of that website as well.
Nice.
And that website is over in the UK. We love sports UK. So United Kingdom is going to be listening to this podcast. Once it's uploaded and it's ready to go, that will be over there on TMW or TWM.news. Also, man, we're everywhere.
Yeah, we are.
Culture Plus Entertainment, CPE on Twitter. They're also Culture Plus Wrestling, cultureplusentertainment.com. Is another website that is going to be spotlighting the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, we literally are going everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Man, Tony, did you think that this was going to happen like a few months ago?
Not even in my wildest dreams. I mean, it has been an epic rise, and we're not even close to stopping. We got a ways to go yet.
Man, so if you can watch us, ladies and gentlemen, every week on www.twitch.tv/BCW Worldwide TV or www.youtube.com/the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. You can also click on all our links if you go to anchor.fm/the Roundtable Podcast. Please like, click, and subscribe. Tony, it's been a pleasure as usual, my man. Ladies and gentlemen,
it's been awesome.
It's been another edition of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, and we bid you adieu. Bang!